All right, let's talk about automation. But we're not talking about those simple if this, then that recipes. Today, we're diving into a tool that's built for professionals, for people who need serious control and refuse to hit a wall. Let's get into it.
So, have you ever been there? You're deep into building out a really important process, and you hit a wall, a hard wall. That sinking feeling when you realize the simple tool you started with just can't take you any further. It's a super common frustration, right? Well, there's actually a name for that feeling. It's called the complexity ceiling. This visual just nails it, doesn't it? As your business needs get more complex, your tool's capabilities just flatline. You're stuck. You're forced to make a trade-off between what you want to do and what your tool lets you do. And that's where the real pain starts. So what does hitting that ceiling actually look like in the real world? Well, it usually boils down to three big problems. First, the cost. That per-task pricing model that seems so cheap at the beginning, it totally explodes as you scale up. Second, and this is a big one, data privacy risks. You're basically shipping your sensitive customer data off to some third-party cloud, which can be a compliance nightmare. And finally, the logic is just way too rigid. You need to do something custom, like branching or loops, and the tool just says, nope, can't do that. Okay, so let's just daydream for a second. Forget about existing tools. What would the ideal solution look like? You'd want the best of both worlds, right? A beautiful visual canvas so you can build things quickly, but also have the ability to drop down to the code level for total control. A tool that doesn't just tolerate code, but actually embraces it. Well, that ideal tool, it actually exists, and it's called n8n. I think the best way to describe it is as the programmable glue for the internet. It's designed specifically to connect all your different apps and services without ever forcing you to compromise. So let's get specific. What is n8n? It stands for nodemation, which is kind of cool. And at its core, it's a source-available workflow automation tool. Its whole reason for being is to connect different applications, databases, and APIs so you can automate your work from the super simple stuff to the mind-blowingly complex. So how does it actually work? Well, everything happens on this really clean node-based canvas. Seriously, just think of it like a digital flowchart. You have a trigger, that's the event that kicks the whole thing off. Then you add these little circles called nodes, and each one is a specific action. And then you just draw lines between them to show how the data should flow. It's that simple. You can literally break down building any workflow into just three simple steps. Step 1, you start with a trigger. Think of it as the starting pistol. Step 2, you add your action nodes for every single task in your process. Step 3, you draw the connections, the wires that create the exact path your data is going to follow. It's just a very logical, visual way to build automations. Okay, so you get the basics, but really makes n8n different? Why is it so popular, especially with more technical teams? Well, it all comes down to 4 foundational advantages that directly solve those big limitations we talked about earlier. Advantage number 1 is absolutely huge: control and privacy. Look at this comparison. With the standard cloud tools, your data gets sent to their servers. You're trusting them with it. But because n8n is source available, you can self-host it. That means your sensitive data never leaves your own secure infrastructure. For anyone who cares about privacy or compliance, this is a total game changer. Next up, true low-code flexibility. This is key. Most low-code tools try to hide the code from you, but n8n embraces it. For non-coders, yeah, it's a simple drag-and-drop interface. But for developers, you can just pop open any node and write your own custom JavaScript or Python. The platform never holds you back. There are literally no limits. The third advantage is all about handling advanced logic. Let's be honest, real-world business processes are messy. They're not straight lines. n8n is built for that messiness. You can easily build loops to process, say, thousands of customer records. Or you can create complex branching logic, like, hey, if this customer's from Europe, send this email. Otherwise, add them to this other list. You can build all of that visually right on the canvas. And fourth, and this is where things get really futuristic, n8n is built for the AI era. You can use its native integrations with things like OpenAI's GPT-4 to build workflows where an AI agent actually thinks about the next best action. So instead of just following a rigid script, the workflow becomes dynamic and intelligent. It's pretty incredible. So what does this stuff actually look like in practice? Well, here are a few real-world examples. You could build a smart CRM sync that actually checks for duplicates before adding a new contact, or a content pipeline that takes a video, automatically transcribes it, and then drafts a blog post from it. You can even get into really technical stuff, like a DevOps automation that tries to fix a server problem itself before it ever pages a human. This is truly professional-grade automation. So when you put it all together, how does n8n really stack up against the giants like Zapier and Make? This chart makes it crystal clear. Zapier is awesome for beginners with simple tasks. Make is great for visual thinkers. But n8n is really carved out for developers and anyone dealing with complex logic. Just look at the key differences. Hosting, n8n gives you the choice. Coding, n8n gives you full power. And privacy, with n8n, your data stays your data. It really is the professional's choice.
Okay, so let's bring this all back to you. The best way to really grasp the power of a tool like this is to think about your own world, your own work. So think about it. What is that one repetitive, manual task that you absolutely hate doing? The one you just wish would disappear forever? I'll leave you with that question. What is the very first process you would automate?